warm welcome from my side. Before I introduce myself, who knows about EBV? Who ever heard the name EBV before? Oh, at least one. Basically, what we are a distributor for active semiconductor components. And basically, we're part of the FNet company, which is divided into different speedboats. We're, along with Silica, one of those who sell the active semiconductor components. And then we have other divisions that sell passive and electromechanic components, as well as parts that go into server racks, for example. And what we are doing is we're basically going to the customers, and from their ideas, we basically follow the whole process, whether it's the design, the engineering. We do the recommendation for the right parts to choose, the sourcing. A big part of it is the logistics part of that, like basically Amazon, we're doing for the active components, and as well for the production at the end. We're about a $2 billion company, about 1,000 people, a bit more than 100 in the technical field, so engineers that can advise about the product itself. About 200 people in the field, salespeople, and the others are back-end or taking care of the whole logistics. We have an inventory of about 370 million parts in our warehouse, which is still in the Munich area, and the headquarters also based in Poing, a little bit west of Munich. This is a list of the suppliers we have in our line card. Predominantly, it's NXP, Xilinx, ST, Microsemi, Microchip, as well as Renesas, that are currently quite active in this field of AI, and I'll get to that later on in more detail. And it's not just basically the CPUs or processing units, it's also the sensors, like image sensors, pressure, temperature, acceleration, that comes from different suppliers, which can be used in your products for making use of AI algorithm at a later stage. Our segments, the majority in terms of the markets is in the industrial area. That means we sell typically to the mid-sized companies. The big ones, the tier ones, get directly supplied by the suppliers, and we basically provide the services to the mid-sized companies throughout Europe. The next thing after industrial is automotive, followed by smart computer, smart consumer, and smart grid applications, and then high-rel and healthcare and medical. And for the main product groups, about 30% of the products we sell is in the analog field, so everything which is operational amplifiers, power supply stuff. Then it comes processors, which could be MCU up to a multi-core MPU, optoelectronics, power discretes, memories, of course, that you need for these MPUs to do things, and FPGAs, which play a quite big role in this whole AI stuff, as you will see. We have a presence in 59 offices throughout Europe, as well as Africa and Russia. This is quite a busy slide, but it should give you an idea of where AI can be applied, and where basically we see that customers are thinking about using AI algorithms in their products, whether it's retail to, for example, see are the shelves empty, what is the behavior, doing kind of analysis to have displays or customized displays using sentimental analysis, whether it's female, male, age about. So you can basically customize your advertisement. It's in the manufacturing. A big field is this predictive maintenance, where you can basically figure out by doing identifying the sensor data, whether it's a ball bearing which is about to break within the next weeks or month. So you can do a timely maintenance on these machines when, for example, they have already a plant downtown, rather than when there's some accidental problem happening. So this is one of these examples where you can use AI, for example, in medical, all these diagnoses of the big picture data to, for example, identify whether there's a risk of cancer, to advise basically a doctor. These are things, finance, for these fast tradings, to detect anomalies as well in this field. So you see there's a huge range. Automotive, of course, for this assisted driving. This is a big play. I think the cars in the future are like data centers at the moment. You'll find huge data streams going back and forth within a car. So there's lots of data to process. And for that purpose, basically, NXP, one of our supplier, offers on the lower end MCUs based on Cortex M4, and then ranging up to multi-core A53, up to 16 A53 cores in such a device, mainly targeted for gateway application or network application. And then here in this area, this is basically more graphic-centric. They have GPUs inside, and also the proper interfaces to, for example, decode video data up to 4K, and also do or to display. And then there's kind of what they call crossover. It's a kind of mix between MCUs and MPUs, because it's a flashless device, but it's typically in the price range of $3 to $4, and ranging up from 600 megahertz up to 1 megahertz in processing capabilities. So it's already for this class of devices really great devices to use and to run your algorithms on. In particular here, the next generation, at the moment, these devices are just multi-core ARM cores, basically, but NXP is in the process to add dedicated IP blocks within these chips to accelerate, in particular, AI functions. So, yeah, interesting stuff that is coming. And as well, they provide a kind of software ecosystem to help you applying the AI algorithms. And all these solutions I'm presenting at the moment are basically targeting the edge processing side of things. So we don't necessarily focus on the learning aspect of AI, because this is typically happening in the cloud. We rather, with these devices, we focus on the pre-trained models that get converted and built into the software ecosystems of the suppliers to finally run it on the devices and use the data that basically these products get fed in with to do the proper processing. Second big supplier we have in our portfolio is Xilinx. Xilinx is I think, along with Intel PSG solutions, programmable solutions, the second biggest, comparable in size for the FPGA business. And basically, they identified these different applications for this data center, whether it's fintech, to process fast tradings, database applications to speed up databases, for example, do video processing, whether it's transcoding, encoding, decoding, high-end processing, just the pure machine learning, because that's the beauty of these devices, basically. You can really tailor your algorithms and run it on these FPGAs, whether it's a new algorithm, for example, when new networks are discovered that basically use a smaller bit size. This is something you can really adopt pretty quickly on these cards. This is the product portfolio, and we have it on display on our booth. It's U200 and U250. These are just standard PCI Express acceleration cards, basically. You can use within a PC environment or in a server type of an environment. U280 comes with an additional HBM memory, high bandwidth memory. So for memory-intense applications, this is the right product to choose, as well as upcoming products, which are basically for network applications to do deep packet inspection or whatever you can think of to speed up your tasks. And then by mid of this year, there will be a new generation at the top node, silicon node, and manufactured in 7 nanometers, called Versal, which is a combination of universal and versatile. That got, again, building blocks inside, which are specifically tailored to optimize AI algorithms. Also, from Xilinx, there's a huge ecosystem targeting the software aspect. They can offer different models, do some pruning, which means do some optimization of neurons that basically don't have a real impact to the neural network. And then on the left side, we have it basically again for the embedded application, which means devices which have multiple ARM cores along with the programmable solution part of it, the FPGA. And on the right-hand side, software called software-defined acceleration, basically where you can run your algorithms through, and basically the tool gives you some guidelines whether the algorithm or parts of the algorithms are better partitioned to run on the x86, for example, and while others are basically more shifted towards the programmable solution, which means the FPGA part of it. There are different development boards that are available. You can basically start playing with, and there's already different cloud providers that utilize these cards. For example, AWS F1 is using FPGA cards for accelerating AI algorithms you can run in the cloud. The third in the list is more towards the lower end type of applications in the AI space. They have an ecosystem which is called Cube to basically configure the device, set up the proper peripherals, and there's an extension to it called Xcube AI, basically to integrate into this integrated development environment. And it, again, like with NXP, takes different trained models, whether it's TensorFlow, Caffe, or Lasagna, do some conversion and integrate it into the tool to later on run it on the MCU. And ST is one of those suppliers which have a really big portfolio ranging from entry class Cortex M0 devices up to the Cortex M7 devices that typically run in the range of 300 to 400 megahertz, come with a huge set of peripherals to help you interface into the world. So there's lots of devices you can choose from, and basically EBV is here to help you guys selecting the proper device for that. Come to see us. AI gets real. So we got a lot of feedback during this session, basically, to see really where AI is really processed, because typically AI is just a mathematical operation, taking a value and multiplied with a certain factor. You do that in parallel many times, and you can really see where AI gets processed. So come to see us if you want, and if there's any questions, it's now time for that. Yep.
You have been talking about FPGAs, and recently I've just checked. Oh, thank you. I've just checked to find some neural chips on the net, but I only found some obscure Chinese suppliers to provide neural chips. Why can't we see any application-specific integrated circuits for that?
It depends. First of all, we have this selection of suppliers on our line card, so I don't really follow completely what's available within our competition. Of course, NVIDIA is one of the big ones that typically get used for all these learning processes, because there you need floating point operation, while the inference type of thing typically can get along with smaller bit sizes. So yeah, these suppliers typically focus how AI fits into their kind of base product line. So this is not necessarily a dedicated product offering they have in vision at the moment, at least from what I know.